right, welcome to another edition of Colquitt's Corner in the market analysis. Here we are for another update, and definitely, wow, right? We have broken highs on the S&P 500, and where we're gonna go from here, who knows? But definitely got a little bit of that V shape they were talking about, V-shape recovery, and some. So. Let's just take a look. All right, we are beyond levels of Ichimoku, and once we surpass this, I like to bring in fib levels. And what we'll do is we'll make sure I do this right. And nope. Oh. There we go. Okay. So we put the Fibonacci levels on here, and we like this 127 level. So that's going to be our target if we go anywhere, okay? So if we keep going up, I'm going to target that, all right? Since we're beyond, obviously Ichimoku levels, looking for IMTF, things like that, support resistance. The best way to do it is just grab this fib tool and to do that when you're beyond that, okay? So we'll mark off that level, all right? Now, if we get a pullback, we definitely have this cross here that could be a nice support, right? And it sits right there on the cusp, on that peak, okay? You can see here. And definitely want to consider that level, okay, as a pullback. So we're in this range where we want to maybe shoot for this target, and if we do get a pullback, we get a pullback to here. And what happens at this level will determine, if we stay bullish or if we get sucked back into this area down here, okay? So let's take a look at the weekly, because the weekly actually has a breakout. And you can see here on this IMTF indicator that you have a green shaded area, which is bullish. It's come out of the cloud, it's broken out, and it has triggered the breakout, okay? So from here, we want to see what happens. Again, we have our target there, all right? And we have our pullback here. You can also see on the breakout on the weekly, it has a preserve mode all the way up here, okay? So it looks like it's projected to go even higher than the fib level that we have, but do consider that fib level as a first target, okay? So if this continues to go up, do not ignore that, okay? And we'll just take a look at the lower time frames here real quick. And the daily's been pretty strong. You can see it's been cruising up here. We had a little consolidation, came back, boom, took off, and has been traveling up quite a bit, and making some pretty strong 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, just trending. And now we got our first little pullback Monday, today still anyway, and we'll just have to see. Things can't trend forever, but also pullbacks are great opportunities to get in. So if this thing wants to get up, keep going up, because it's still pretty strong. I mean, look how far away it is. All these things, bullish, 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 bullish. So we get a little bit of a pullback to get in, take advantage of it. Just keep your risk low, right? Let's take a look at the 4-hour, see if the 4-hour is just as strong or if it has any weakness. That might show us a little opportunity for a pullback. See, there we go. It has definitely pulled back to the Tinkerson, okay? And it's hovering around underneath that. So clearly we need to get back above this Tinkerson, okay? Once we get above this Tinkerson, then maybe I would go to look at lower time frames, mark off this Tinkerson here, okay? And then look for some possibilities for some bullish setups around this level here, all right? But do keep in mind, it's still below it. If this holds, then we'll go down to the green line. That's our first target of support, okay? So we find ourselves within this range, right? Okay, that's it for the S&P 500. Let's go take a look at gold. And you can see here, gold had a nice little run. It did get overextended, and now we have a bit of a pullback, all right? Talked about this, things can't go forever, but it had a nice little run there. So definitely overextended. You can see here, if you were to take this line on the red line. That would be your first obstacle of support. Okay, so we look to see the go there. You do also have these IMTFs. Okay, so you maybe see it bleep down, touch some of these levels, and then if it closes back above that Tinkinson, that's a sign of strength. You can already see it's in preserve mode. The green dots have moved up to the red line, past the green line for the preserve mode opportunity. And if we go and take a look at the weekly here, let's see what the weekly is saying. And look at that nice little matchup there on the Cajunson right. That's an INTF for sure. But the red line's still holding this up. It's got some strength. You can see it touched it. Never closed below it though. Okay, actually stayed right around in this area. And stayed pretty strong. It looks like it's trying to work its way back up. So let's see if there's any opportunities on the lower time frame and some consistency in the strength of the bullishness. Yeah, so we are up against a resistance currently at the moment. Okay, and if you were to mark off this level, we need to see what's going to happen here. This is going to be a very crucial level. Okay, and either it holds and it's got a high probability to go back to the cloud. All right, or it breaks it, gets stopped out here on this green line, and that will signify that this trade is over with, and then do a possible pullback and see if there's a setup opportunity to go bullish. Okay, so I wouldn't take anything, being bearish right now would be aggressive since the higher time frames are bullish. So if you were to take this bearish, just keep your risk low, all right, and just know you're taking a higher risk trade than you should if you were to wait for this to get stopped out and try to take it bullish and go with the higher time frames. All right, let's take a look at the 4 hour too, see if we can see any clues to this setup that we have here. Okay, so we have an actual breakout here. Okay, we have a bullish breakout. So this is definitely a sign of some possibilities, right? Some probabilities leaning in our favor of that setup on the daily to fail. Okay, higher time frames are overriding it. Here's the 4 hour as well in agreement with it. Okay, which is good. So we'll watch this, look for this to break out, set an alert here, and go from there. Okay, just one way to look at it. Now let's go take a look at crude oil. Okay, and you can see some of our levels we've marked off from the last session. And again here, we have broken above the Tinkinson. Okay, so the next target, you can see we're at that. And this is from one of our lower time frames. This also happens to be the future SKA at the moment. And we are going to see what's going to happen here. I mean, it's trying to work its way up, okay? And, we just got to watch where we're at on these obstacles. Because now that we've broken above the Tinkinson and we have this resistance here as well, we're in this tight range of support and resistance. So not a whole lot of room to play with if you're looking for longevity. You really just want to keep your trade short, low risk, in and out until we get past some of these obstacles, especially if you're considering long, thinking that this thing is going to go back. We're still bearish, really bearish. You're better off playing bearish trades than you are bullish. But either way, even the bearish trades, just be careful because there's not a whole lot of room. I would rather get below that Tinkinson to take on some longer bearish trades than anything. And if we take a look at the weekly here, you can see we're not even at the cloud. We're coming up on the cloud. We're not past it. We're still below this cloud. So technically, we're still bearish. Okay, so we're bearish on the monthly, bearish on the weekly. We're, coming up here. We started slowing, not getting a whole lot going on. And this is going to be a key level here. All right, once we get to this SKB is like the line in the sand. And it's going to be very crucial what happens here. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if we hit this and see some downside. Okay, but if it doesn't and we try to break out on the other side, that's going to be very significant too, because that means it's not acting normally. It's not with the probabilities, so we need to consider that, keep your eye on it. But right now I would lean probabilities more on the bearish side, go with the higher time frames. Let's take a look at the daily. And the daily is bullish. Okay, it's a choppy bullish, choppy upward movement ever since it's broken out of this cloud here. And it's, just not a pretty upward trend at all. So keep an eye on that. You'll learn that when they tend to go like this in this sideways action, they tend to break one way or another sharply. So if this were to break down, it would break down sharply, right? Versus where some things that trend up sharply tend to do this pattern on the way back, and so on. So look for things like that. Be aware of things like that. Keep your eye on it. Set your alerts, because when it's going to move, it will probably move pretty fast if it does. And just look to be in the trade on the right side of that trade. Let's take a look at this 4-hour too and see what the 4-hour is saying for us. It's probably more of a consolidation pattern since that daily looks so choppy. Yeah, see here, got a breakout. And it pulled back out, and this breakout got stopped out. It didn't even really do anything, and it's just chugging along. So watch this 4-hour, see if it breaks out on the bearish side to get you a bearish setup, and just keep an eye on it. Set your alerts. But crude oil is not out of the water yet. If anything, it might even get even deeper into the water. So let's go take a look at Bitcoin as well. Good old crypto. And you can see here, this is your monthly. Not a whole lot of complete data, but we are above the cloud now. Okay. And definitely breaking some key levels. All right. Let's go see. The only thing I do not like to prevent it from going higher is that these are out of sync. I'd like to see these flip if it were to have some more bullish, but as of right now, it's more likely to pull back than not. So let's take a look at the weekly. And there we are. We have a breakout. It is not breaking out. It triggered, and we're just struggling. You got definitely a IMTF stuck in there, okay? And, is it acting more like a support? A resistance at the moment? Definitely worth marking off that level and seeing how we react to that, okay? And, just contributing to this sideways consolidation that you see on the weekly. Now, there's a lot of volatility, and if this does hold, you could look to maybe from some setups, low risk, with some volatility, take this thing back down the range. But again, you got to watch the chart and let the chart tell you the signs, okay? Definitely not what's on Twitter. Do not follow Twitter people and their guarantees of whatever it is they're going to reach to. Back it up with the chart. Here we go again. We are in we had a trend here, okay? And it's matching up with that IMTF level. This is a key level. You can see it hit. Question is, what will happen here, right? Unlike the other chart we were looking at, the gold, where it had the same setup. Okay, I think this has a higher probability to hold this level and reach and go back down to the cloud. There's definitely some weakness in that, whereas the gold was way stronger on the bullish side, so it had a higher probability to fail. So keep an eye on this. If this is the level that it holds at, okay, and we break below, we're going to definitely go back down towards the cloud, okay? Let's take a look here at the 4-hour. And we have a not so good breakout setup here. That's why it doesn't have a shaded area and all this stuff. That's some of the cool things about this indicator. It gives you some probability hints of if it's going to fail or not. And this is definitely on the higher side probability wise to fail as a breakout, which will correlate with the 1-hour, the daily. So, there you go. You got some clues here to help you understand. I would, you can see where it hit up here and where it hit that level. It tried to hit it here. Don't go chasing it. Just let it get below the cloud and let it set up with, a lower time frame breakout or something like that. Don't get upset that if you missed it at this level. There's plenty. You saw on the weekly, it's a huge range. There's plenty of money to be made. Don't be greedy, and don't go chasing the market like that. Keep your risk low and always be safe, especially with volatility. Bitcoin has a lot of volatility. You got to be careful. There's a lot of volatility in general, especially in the stock market. And it's been nice for me. Last week was pretty good, but you got to be careful. I gave back a little bit last night, and it's okay. I keep my risk low, and you keep trading for another day, right? So anyway, that's it for this month, and it looks like keep it rolling. And if you guys got any comments, please let me know what your thoughts are. Um, you know, anything's cool. Except for, you can keep all the negative stuff out, guys. I don't care about that stuff. And if you do, oh well. Anyway, guys, thank you for another trading month, and we'll see you next month.